Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome everyone back to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And it's January, it's a new year, and we are starting off by talking about sharing, talking about coming together as a Christian community, but also just being the demonstration of how differences of opinions and different concepts can actually come together to create something greater. And I think that's something that we're very excited to be talking with Brandon here, the CEO of Medi-Share 65 Plus and the visionary for an amazing program. So Brandon, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Suzanne.
Now, Brandon, you have talked, we closed out the last segment about the concept of sharing together. We talked about that. What does that mean when it comes to Medi-Share?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, when you look at biblical texts and you go back to the early ancient church, go back to early, Jerusalem at the time, just after Christ's death and ascension, and you've got this fledgling church. And their entire model was doing exactly what you just described, sharing and having things in common. But really, the basis there was in what we read about in Galatians 6. That's the law of Christ, and that is to love God, right? With all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love others, and have that love show in how you act towards one another. And yeah, it means sharing in one another's burdens. And when you see your neighbor down, right, in the ditch, you don't kick them and throw more mud on them. You help lift them up, right? And you take the resource that you have and you share with them and help them. These aren't models for government. These aren't models for models for you and I as people, right? To act towards one another with. And so we see that model literally spelled out for us in that early church in the book of Acts. And so we see that really as our mandate, as our calling. And we in words like our vision statement, we say we're here to transform society through the biblical model of sharing, right? It's such a beautiful way to live life. And it's counterculture today, right, Suzanne?
Yes, absolutely. And when you look at the fact of somebody, you're stepping up and saying, we can do this in a better way. We don't have to be divisive. We don't have to be, tearing that apart or, say, condemn nothing, but make the statement to live, just rise above it, And I think that's the thing that you're talking about. It's that vision of, we can always find common ground, always, if we can look for it. How often are they, is that happen or is that demonstrated in our country? You guys are really the exception.
Yeah, exception for sure. I mean, it is by far not exactly in line with common culture today. And yeah, you look around you can't turn on the news, can't pick up a newspaper, can't turn on the radio without hearing something incredibly divisive. Some would argue that the world's on fire right now in a thousand different ways. And yet here we are fighting, right? And there's no need for that. And there are commercial solutions and ways to solve these problems with products or services. But I'm here to tell you that there are better ways, and there are ways you can do that without, focusing on profiteering or the bottom line, if you will, and that there are ways people can come together in really powerful ways. Using technology, some of the best technology in the world, to solve these problems that folks have.
Yeah. So we're talking about sharing. We're talking about this concept. Could you explain the model of Medi-Share and how it works?
Yeah, sure. So, and I, again, this goes back so many years, Suzanne, and there are other organizations that have connected into models like this in the recent decade, right? And you look at some of these trends in culture today, whether that is, GoFundMe, right? Or organizations like that. Well, think years way before that ever happened, okay? Way before that ever happened, we had a group of people here who saw a need of families who were being crushed under the weight of medical bills. Okay. I mean, absolutely crushed. And still happening every day. People are going bankrupt over medical bills. Personally, I had a situation. My wife was in the hospital last year. The bill was over $600,000 for less than
my goodness.
a week, Suzanne. Now, thank the Lord, she's healthy today. But that is the state of affairs in our country. We saw that need 30 years ago. And we designed a program that said, you know what, if we all contribute a share amount every single month and bring those bills in to the storehouse, if you will, we can meet those needs without having to have things like insurance,
absolutely,
or other methods like that of funding those bills. Where you have profiteering and other issues involved. And so that started 30 years ago, and that's literally what we do today. So
wow. And you know what you're talking about, I know the bring you tithes, and isn't that the concept of tithing to begin with? I mean, wasn't that really in the churches how this whole thing started?
Yes, in so many ways. And that's literally what we do here at CCM. And now when you're signing up for a program like Medi-Share, you're not just signing up for membership in that program. We're actually connecting you to a bank account that's yours, right? As that money comes in, we connect all of those bank accounts together and connect those needs as they come in with those resources. It's an amazing method, a lot of technology, a lot of patents, right, that we've sweated over and bled over the years to build for our members. But that's literally how we do it.
So as you put this together and this program together, if I'm going to sign up for Medi-Share, what can I expect?
Yeah, well, honestly, we try to make it as simple as possible, right? And so you can expect very similar, some of the tools and ways that you've found insurance over the years to be easy. The ID card, right? And statements every month in the mail that what your share amounts are. All of those basic things are there. But when you get into and so it's easy. It's easy to use. You can go to any doctor you want on 65 plus. If things are eligible in Medicare A and B, it's eligible in our 65 plus program. So it's pretty simple to understand. And all you're going to do is take that EOB that you get after a bill goes through Medicare, and what's left over there, you send it in, and we're going to cover the rest. Right now, we don't cover anything. The community, literally funds those bills, right? With your
monthly. That is so cool. So if you have, like, for example, a copay with your doctor, then I'm thinking what happens is you just submit that through the website or whatever, and then you get reimbursed. Is that how that works?
There's a really simple, what we call an annual household portion. It's $500. Okay. So once you've met that $500 amount, everything else that comes in that's eligible under Medicare A or B, for all intents and purposes, right, gets processed through, and you would and those bills are handled that way. So it's a really amazing system. Very simple way to do it. I haven't mentioned the cost, and I'm not here to sell this. I mean that, Suzanne. There are a lot of solutions you can go out to our website for. But if you are between the ages of 65 and 74, okay, it's $99. $99. If you are over 70, if you're over 74, it's $150, and that's it, right? So it's really simple, pretty easy to understand, and straightforward.
Perfect. And Brandon and we're going to be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.